In this video, I'll make some gesture drawings and then put them together to make a larger composition. When drawing the figure, it's very common to start out by doing gesture drawings. Now these are usually on large sheets of newsprint, and they're very quickly done, and they're essentially studies. And for this project, we're probably going to be doing everything at a much smaller scale. So I'm drawing on 8.5 by 11 paper here, and I'm looking at reference photos because I don't have a model. This drawing will take 2 minutes, and that's a pretty good idea of the time frame that you might want to set aside for each of your drawings. Some gesture drawings can be done in half a minute or even less. In this drawing, I'm just trying to capture foreshortening. So I'm drawing the body parts, and the hand that's near the viewer is much larger than the hand that's in the distance. I'm not trying to make a drawing that's perfectly accurate. I'm just trying to catch the main idea of the drawing and get the proportions roughly correct and interesting. I'm drawing with a charcoal pencil here so that the camera can pick it up well. I did gesture drawings with ink and charcoal pencil mostly, but you'll see some are drawn with vine charcoal and are blended in order to make values in the gesture drawing. Generally, though, gesture drawings are a kind of linear process. They're often drawn with compressed charcoal in a very large scale where you draw with your whole arm. In these next few sped up drawings, I'll make different kinds of gesture drawings. In this drawing, I'm trying to both get the weight of the figure as well as kind of the balance of a sitting figure. It's pretty much all I need. This much information gives me quite a bit to go from. Notice that I start this gesture drawing with very dramatic line. That's a directional line that the arms are actually going, and I go back and fill in the rest of the features. This obviously is somebody jumping. I'm going to draw 2 gestures here, and these basically both cover the dynamics of the figure. You can kind of tell arms and legs are crossed, and that whole drawing took a minute or so. Of course, the video is sped up, but none of these drawings take very long, and none of them are anything close to perfect. It might be hard for you to even tell what I'm drawing here, but I started with a head, and I'm drawing with very light pressure, holding the pencil at the very end, in trying to draw very beautiful, soft, curved lines in order to establish this figure. In this next drawing, I slowed the video back down to normal speed. I'm going to just slash at the paper with the charcoal pencil. It's the same exact drawing, it's just drawn in a different way. And that's one of my suggestions. Don't draw the same way every time. Try different ways of attacking the paper with the pencil, in this case, or very gently approaching the pencil to the paper, like the last drawing. This one is much more expressive, but I like the other one better. Make at least 20 gesture drawings and document them. Take a picture of all of them at once. Something like this would work. Or you can take individual photos. These are some of my gesture drawings drawn with the pen. This is the first part of your project. Your next step is going to be to combine at least 6 of your gesture drawings onto a larger piece of paper. I recommend you use newsprint in charcoal of some sort. I have extra drawing paper, so I'm going to do this on a wide sheet of drawing paper. And what I'm going to do is basically make gesture drawings from my gesture drawings, and I don't have a big plan here. I'm going to just assemble my figures into a very interesting composition. Well, interesting to me. The idea is that I want to get more than 1 figure onto the paper. That's your assignment. You're going to get 6 figures onto the paper. I recommend that you look for artistic precedent for the way artists put figures in compositions. Here, I'm just going to do this very playfully. I'm drawing all my really dramatic gestures crashing into each other, essentially. There's some confusion in here as to what part goes to which figure because they overlap, and I find this all really fun to draw. So remember that this is supposed to be an entertaining exercise for you, but it's to gain valuable skills that you're going to need if you're ever going to draw figures in combination. One advantage to making the figure studies at a small scale on 8.5 by 11 paper is that I'm essentially drawing them the same size on my drawing paper. This makes it a bit easier. Your drawings don't need to approach reality if you don't want to, and you can use whatever tools you want to as well. This is a very open project for you to interpret and figure out how to do in your own way. I'm drawing the figures right on top of each other, and later I'll decide which ones are actually in the front and which ones are in the back. It's kind of interesting just to draw them in X-ray vision like this. I am constantly referring to my gesture drawings. I'm not looking at the original source material anymore. I think it's interesting to do this. If you are drawing from photo reference, it's not the same as when you have to make things up based on the drawing information that you have already got in front of you. This is a challenge, but I find it to be really an interesting challenge, and I hope you do too. I slowed the video down, and here what I'm going to do is start deciding who's in front and who's behind, and I'll do this with pencil to begin with. What I'll do is follow some of the guidelines that I have laid down, and then I'll just change where they need to go. You could just go straight to charcoal and start making values if you want, but I'm more confident drawing with lines, so that's what I'm going to do first. Again, your choice of tools is up to you. You could draw the whole drawing with a pen if you want to, or you could have no lines and draw just with Vine charcoal if you want to. I think that this is an opportunity for you to develop your own skills in your own direction. I have a plan that I would actually like to try and get some values into the drawing that are similar to what you might expect if you were looking at figures. And I suppose if you were a painter, you might make a composition like this as a preliminary study. This drawing is a challenge for me just as it is for you. I don't usually draw this way. This project is a chance for all of us to experiment and try something completely different. I'm really enjoying combining these figures, although this is very different from the kind of art that I might be making if I didn't have this assignment in front of me. It's a really fun challenge. One of the most difficult parts for me is the lack of certainty. I don't have a figure in front of me. I don't have a photo in front of me. I have to remember what I saw, and I have to interpret what I drew in my sketches, in my gesture drawings, in order to be able to make something of it. Now, I'm going to skip ahead to where I have values in the drawing and just show you what it looks like. In some cases, I have made the background darker, and in some cases, the figures are darker. And I'm really enjoying picking out details here and there. I'm going to go back and forth between the very soft pencil and the charcoal pencil and Vine charcoal and the eraser in order to get values where I want them. Now that I've got the drawing this far, I have all kinds of ideas on what I might want to do different next time, or how I could use this technique in order to make some interesting combinations of figures. I've tried to keep the characteristics of my gesture drawings in this finished drawing, and I've really enjoyed the process, and I think the results are okay. I'd like to have another shot at this, but it's been fun to do. Try and see this week's assignment as a process that you're learning something about, and have fun doing it.